Welcome to this episode of the Growthcast. It's me, Jackson Campbell, joined again with Dallas Pruitt here for another Saturday extended cut. Dallas, how are you?
Dude, I am doing way better than what I just showed with a yawn.
Yeah, you had just big old yawn.
Yeah.
Am I already boring you?
Which is like, dude, I have a ton of energy right now. I don't even know why I did that. It was like, I don't know if you opened your mouth and I thought you were yawning, and then that's like weird trigger that happens, but I'm doing great. So thanks for asking.
Good. So glad to hear. No, we're excited to dive into another extended cut episode here with Dallas, where I'm able to interview him and kind of dive deeper into a specific topic. I'll get into that topic here briefly, but before we dive in, just a reminder and an announcement for those of you that are new. Please give us a rating, a review, share the podcast with those that you think could benefit from it. And then also just a quick synopsis here of the Growthcast. Monday through Thursday, we have Dallas Pruitt. He gives us 5 to 7 to 10 minute daily drips about specific mindset, tactics, tricks, whatever it is. Those are very powerful episodes to help get your day going. Friday, I interview Tyler Devereaux. A lot of the times we'll talk about a real estate topic. Sometimes we'll talk about a mindset topic. Mindset is always weaved in there no matter what we're talking about because we know the importance of it. But that's what we do on Friday. I get the opportunity to sit down and interview Tyler. And then on Saturday, you're tuning in for this episode where I get the opportunity to interview Dallas and talk about some specific mindset principles. Today, we're going to talk about a quote that Dallas heard. Actually, Dallas, this is a topic that Dallas wanted to talk about, and we're gonna dive in here a little bit deeper. But Dallas, through the week, he heard the quote, "The pursuit of happiness." Yeah. But then right after that, Dal, I'll turn it over to you, Dal. I'll turn it over to you for the topic. Dal, what do we want to talk about?
No, you're doing a great job. I don't even know where the source was from, but what I heard was someone speaking to the pursuit of happiness, which is a common phrase and thing that most people have heard. Yeah, it's a great movie. Great movie. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. But this individual, whoever it was, said that actually needs to be flipped, right? We should flip that, and we should be in the happiness of pursuit, or live in the happiness of pursuit. And gosh, I was just like, wow, that is brilliant. I wish I could coin that as mine. That is not a DP original. But it is very, very true. And it's very, very uncommon for people to live in the happiness of pursuit. Rather, they always, or usually majority, live in the pursuit of happiness. And I'm not saying either is wrong or right. But I also think that's just great perspective, right? That there is a ton of happiness
along the pursuit.
Yep.
Yes.
The pursuit itself provides a ton of happiness.
I couldn't agree more. Even when you say pursuit of happiness, it sounds like there's a lack of happiness there.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no happiness there until you accomplish whatever to pursue, to get that happiness. Right. So I love the verbiage that's used here of the pursuit of happiness. The happiness of pursuit. You have to have happiness throughout that time of pursuit. Dal, oftentimes that gets rough, man. Oftentimes when you're pursuing a big goal, or you're trying to take down a big obstacle in your way, dude, happiness is hard to find. How can we be? So I guess the question that comes up there, Dallas, is how can we be strategic about having happiness through the struggles, through the grind, through the pursuit of whatever it is we're trying to accomplish?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, like, happiness doesn't come from the achievement of whatever that is that you're striving to accomplish.
I mean, that's thing number one, right?
I was like, it's like, just recognize that. Like, it doesn't come from that, that's not where happiness comes from. Happiness actually comes from the pursuit. And there's literally been science that, they've dove into the data and studied the mind and endorphins and everything else. And Tyler's actually spoke to this numerous times here on the Growthcast. But they've discovered that you actually gain happiness and fulfillment and joy while in the pursuit at a much higher rate than once you achieve that, right? Come to the end of whatever that journey was. And so, happiness comes from the journey. Happiness comes from day-to-day actions and choices that you make.
Boom. Dude, that's exactly what I wanted to get out of you, dude. Is like, when you're pursuing something, you have to set goals, you have to plan, you have to do all these things. And that's where the happiness comes from, dude, is checking off those daily goals, checking off those weekly goals, checking off those quarterly goals, checking off those monthly goals, whatever it is, right? That's where that happiness comes from. It's not necessarily in the obtainment of whatever it is that you're trying to pursue or trying to obtain, right? It's not actually in that, but it's in these little actions that you do along the way, and the serotonin and the dopamines that's released when you do check off a task. Though that's how you find happiness. Is by taking the actions necessary to be worthy to obtain whatever it is that you're looking to do.
So great.
I think that's so important to realize, dude, is there's so much more happiness that's found in taking those little actions and being true to the goals and the actions that you've set for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? There's so much happiness.
It's so funny because it's like that is actually, so like if we were going to get real personal, this journal that a lot of people in our community use, the growth guide was actually like a brainchild of my own problem. I didn't have this cool green, journal with a logo on it and, perfect print and everything else. I had my own journal at home, and I was in the pursuit of happiness, if you will. I was in the pursuit of like achieving something that was in the distant future. And it was causing me a ton of like my mentality, not that thing, my mentality, my day-to-day operations was actually causing me a ton of stress and anxiety and anger and sadness and not happiness. Like there was not a lot of happiness. And I remember, looking for some answers and trying to figure out like what the problem was, because I had started to recognize like, man, like this is way more complicated than just like I started to recognize that it wasn't the goal that was going to make me happy and that I was miserable in short, right? At some level. And so I was like, what can I do? And it's like, I did my research and it was like, man, well, you should keep a journal and you should keep a daily gratitude journal. You should focus on learning. You should, like all these things. And I was like, man, like I kind of suck at all these things right now. I'm going to create a system for myself that's going to help me like do all this stuff. And so I created my own little journal in my own little, like just journal I bought at Walmart or whatever. Yeah. And I started to feed, gratitude every day. I started to feed learning, meaning like I'd identify lessons and new things, nuances that I found out that day through my experiences. I started to check off habits that I was working on and hold myself accountable. I started to like increase my recognition and awareness on the ways I was changing. Yeah. And got really strategic about changing my state, changing my identity. And
how did that make you feel, dude?
Dude, it made me feel amazing. Like I could see progress every day. I literally could feel happiness every single day through the small wins that I was stacking up and through an increase in self-awareness and recognition and all these things. And then all the while as this was going on and I started to see a difference, I started listening to some different podcasts, right? It was like, that's a big driving force to why I've chosen to do this with you and Tyler is podcasts helped me so much. Like I had the Ed Milet podcast. And I remember he was talking about this concept of the pursuit of happiness or happiness of pursuit, if you will. And he said that you've got to quit delaying. You've got to quit delaying your happiness. He's like, you keep thinking about this goal of like, you're going to be happy one day when, and then you're going to get there and then you're going to continue to live in that state. You've got to understand and adopt the proper belief system that it's not the goal and the achievement of the goal that's going to make you happy. Happiness is a day-to-day choice, and you fulfill on that via your actions and what you choose to do and how you design your day and deliver on it, And so it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in that. That's where I'm stuck, And so, and it wasn't just one thing, dude. It was lots of things. It wasn't just my career and me like wanting to get, like, I thought that the main driver was like, I just need this position. I just need this job, because if I get this job and this position, one, I'm going to be able to fulfill my purpose better, but two, I'm going to be making more money and I'm going to be able to provide my family with all these things. And I don't have to freaking feel like I'm stuck and limited and, whatever. But then it was like, no, not just that, there was all these other things. It was like, I'd start saying stupid shiz like, gosh, my 3-year-old is so tough at the time she was 3, right? And I just can't wait. It's going to be so much better when she is, this old and in school or whatever, or like my wife at the time, she didn't love her job and she wanted to work on other projects. And it was like every day, whether it was her or me, it was like, oh, it's going to be so much nicer when I don't have to go freaking do this. But that was on repeat. We didn't even recognize like how often we were saying that stuff, the lack of gratitude, right? Like that had bled in. And anyways, when I heard that, man, it was just like, oh my gosh. One, I had to be honest with myself and I was like, you suck at this right now. Like you really suck at this. And that's hard for people to go through. But then dude, like it was like, okay, well then you want to get better? Sweet. You want to change? Awesome. And that's where the journal came from. Like that's where so many different systems came from that I have never let go of, because I know that the truth is happiness comes from the pursuit, right? Like the day to day, that's where happiness comes from. And ultimately, dude, it's a choice. Happiness is a choice. You choose to be happy through the way you behave, through the way you navigate your days and the way you think, right?
I agree.
About everything. So anyways.
I agree, dude. I totally agree with everything you just said. And one thing that really stuck out to me, I actually got chills when you said it, is the quote that you quoted. Ed Milet said, "Stop delaying your happiness."
Yeah.
He's talked about that multiple times, and I've heard him talk about something like that similar, where he talks about even when you are going through the grind, even when you are building, even when you're going through these things that like might not be the most joyous occasion, right? You're talking about you and Haley talking about, oh, this is going to be so much better when X happens or when this happens, whatever. Instead of playing that game with yourself, stop denying yourself that happiness, right? Stop denying yourself the happiness that can be found throughout those experiences and those things that you're doing. There's happiness to be found there and happiness to be gained. One of the biggest things that I think of when I think of happiness in the pursuit is when I think of the pursuit and I think about myself and my journey and growth is I would set goals and I would put mad stress on myself until those goals are accomplished, right? And when I do that, all of the other things come with it. Anxiety, stress, you know what I mean? All of those things, those things come with that pressure that I put on myself, right? And I used to think that those were good things. But like you're explaining right now, and like that quote says, you can't delay your happiness while you're in the pursuit of your goals. You can't. You have to find things throughout your day-to-day, like Dallas is talking about, checking off your daily tasks, doing all of these little things to find that happiness throughout that. Dude, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more with that.
Totally. And I think that's
powerful.
Well, and what you just said made me think about it even like another layer deep, which is, well, what do you value? I valued at the time, I valued the title, I valued the money, I valued, and look, that's okay. That's okay. But it's not going to suffice. Like that doesn't work long-term. And it doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make anybody a bad person if that's what they value at the time. I had to learn that my value system sucked. Right. Yeah. And so it was like, well, you know what I didn't value at the time? I didn't value working hard. I didn't value change. I didn't value challenge. I didn't value, all I wanted to do was get past all that shiz to get to the thing that I wanted, And so that's a really important reminder and a lesson, and an actionable in and of itself is really hit yourself hard with a self-assessment and, change your value system if it needs to be changed. At the time, again, I did not value hard work. I did not value challenges. I did not value setbacks. Yeah. I had a fixed mentality. Growth mindsetters, dude, they value setbacks. They know that there's power in the setback. They know that there's so much being prepared for you on the other end of whatever that struggle and strife is, right? And so for me, instead of being grateful for challenges and setbacks and all the things that I was experiencing, I didn't have gratitude, dude. I was very frustrated, and it's okay to be frustrated, but it wasn't okay to be angry about it. It wasn't okay to be a dick to everybody in my corner about it. And that's what was happening, is because I lacked gratitude, and I lacked gratitude because my value system sucked. I didn't value the right things. And now, right, I know that if I continually place the highest value on my effort, the challenges that come my way, the setbacks that happen, and I value them, I'm grateful for them, I know that on the other end of that, my monetary means increase, my opportunities to lead out increase, but I'm not hyper focused on those things. Like I value those things. I value the responsibility that comes with those things. But I'm not like waking up every day going, I got to have that next title. I got to have that next dollar. I value working hard. I value challenges. I value problems. I value all of those things that I went through, because I know what happens when I hold true to that value system. And also because doing the work necessary within that value system is what provides me with happiness. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just come full circle on all that stuff. And so I don't know, hopefully that, hopefully what we dove into provides some, deep dive material and context, I guess, if you will, for everybody who's kind of going through a similar situation, because again, it's normal. I've been there. Normal. I get stuck there sometimes for moments.
Oh yeah.
But I've learned enough and strive every day to continue refocus on it, that I no longer do I allow myself to get outside of that scope for very long.
Yeah, dude, it's one of those things, dude. I definitely want to reiterate that it's things that you have to, this is something you have to work on all of the time. It's not just Dallas didn't just decide one day that he's going to be happy through every struggle. Every new struggle, Dallas has to put into place these systems that he's talking about so that he can make sure he finds happiness in the struggle, right? So that's our challenge for everybody, is look at your value. Where are you placing value? Where are you placing value? And if you need to change that up so that you can have happiness along the journey, change that up. Put value in the things that are actually providing you with true value and growing you and pushing you. Put your happiness and your value there.
Dude, I want to go one layer deep. I'm on I am like on a
go.
I don't know. You asked me if I was tired at the beginning. Obviously not. Okay. I freaking had my Americano this morning, or it just fell off my table. I'm so excited. Okay. But no. So personal experience to build on this even further. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use names. It's literally happened very recent. Somebody very close, right? Going through a major challenge, having a very like vulnerable moment. And this person tells me, as we're both crying, how do I bounce back from this? Like, how do I come out of this? Like, and what they were really saying was, things are going to be different. Like, I'm going to be different. We're going to be different. And I just thought, oh my hell, they just had a breakthrough. They just figured it out. And they were asking basically like for permission to be different, to change.
Yeah.
They'd recognize like this sequence of events that we just went through, right? And they had just literally come straight out of like anger, lack of gratitude, pissed at God, everybody that's been trying to provide help. And they had recognized, and now they were scared shitless of like, okay, that means I'm going to be different. This means I'm going to change. And I just looked at him, I freaking gave him a big old hug. And I just said, lean into it. Keep going. You got it. And that's my invite for everybody that's listening today is if you're scared, it's okay. I was scared too.
Good thing.
It's a good thing. And yeah, you know what? Things are going to be different. And that's great. That's growth. The other day, yesterday we were on Mindset Monthly, right? And I said a synonym for growth is change.
Yeah.
I'll just insert the word, like quit putting a negative connotation around it, man. Like change is good. Change means you're growing. Mm-hmm. But changing your identity, changing who you are, that is not a bad thing. That is a necessity.
For growth, you have to do it.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So anyways, I just thought that was an awesome experience that I've had recently that kind of it continues to build on this, and whoever needed to hear that, I wanted to close it out that way. So
Dallas, I appreciate you.
You got our permission, and really you don't even need our permission. Give yourself permission. It's all good.
Yep.
So
Dallas, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your knowledge and your guidance and just you being you, man. We're very grateful for you. For those of you that don't know, Dallas also is the mindset coach at the Multifamily Mindset. And he gives monthly trainings, and he gave one of his monthly trainings last night. And it was fantastic. And it was phenomenal. If you want to learn about how you can join those calls and how you can be on those calls, definitely reach out, Growthcast at the multifamilymindset.com, and we can get you that information on how you can potentially join those calls and be part of that. But Dallas, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, your guidance, your wisdom, and just your all out abundant mindset to share all these things, dude, with everybody. So very grateful for you, man. Thank you so much for all you do. Everybody that's listening, we're grateful for you. Thank you for listening. Again, please rate, review, share, leave a comment. We appreciate you. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Take care, y'all.